Next one up, let's talk about Bret Hart's wild speculation. Now, Bret Hart, he was doing an interview and he actually said a lot of things. He mentioned, about Sheamus having soft, weak punches. He mentioned how the modern wrestling is just too fake and he doesn't watch it. And maybe the most egregious of the things he said was this last little soundbite. Would you have the clip to play here?
Talk about the screw job. So I really think, and I'm trying not to be so much controversial, but I think a long time ago, I thought about it back in 1997 when it was all happening. I remember going when Shawn, if you remember, forfeited the belt on Monday Night Raw and retired to go find his smile somewhere. And really, like that, when all that happened, I remember in the dressing room when Vince told everybody that Shawn was going to forfeit the belt because he had his knee or something. I can't remember I think it was his knee. And then Shawn, I remember when Shawn, he was crying in the ring. Shawn was crying in the ring, and the tears were in his eyes and all that. And I just remember Vince, I was watching on the monitor in the back area with Vince. And me and Undertaker looked at each other, and he rolled his eyes that this whole thing was a bunch of bullshit and that there was nothing wrong with Shawn, especially when you saw Shawn. Shawn, if you remember, he went to the corner and did a standing backflip after he forfeited the belt because of his knee injury. And I'm watching this, and he does a standing backflip somersault off the top and lands right in the middle of the ring. And I'm going, you can't do that with a bad knee. Like, this is all bullshit. And I didn't remember Undertaker looked at me and he pulled his eyelid down like this, like it was like. And the thing is that Shawn came back, and I remember Vince crying. Like when Shawn was in the ring talking about, he lost some part of himself, or he was gonna go find his smile. I remember Vince had the tear roll down his cheek. And I remember watching it and going, I think there's more going on here between these two guys. Honestly, and I'm not trying to be, I'm just being honest and blunt, but I don't know, I suspected, and now I really have serious, I think that Shawn and Vince were sleeping with each other. I honestly, I'm just telling you, I think I'm very close to the truth here. Shawn and Vince were lovers, and that's why I'm being dead honest, and I'm telling you.
We all know what the H stands for.
I just, when I look back, it's like, I got caught between two lovers. And I got shafted and screwed over, and Shawn was so envious and jealous of my position that he finally had to sleep with Vince to get it. And I tell you, I say all this with absolute, I would say it to Shawn if he was right here. I would actually like to have Shawn come clean and say, look.
So there's the claim from Bret Hart, is that Vince and Shawn were gay.
I love how he prefaced it by saying, not to be controversial.
Yeah, I don't want to be controversial here.
But they were fucking.
So I didn't hear, because, social media, they clip what they clip, and I didn't hear the context, right? The only thing I initially saw was him just saying, I think Vince and Shawn were lovers. And I was like, I wish he would have at least given some kind of, like, a reason. Like, you're just throwing these allegations out, but you don't give a reason. Like, I don't know, did you catch Shawn sucking Vince off once? What reason do you have for this conclusion?
We saw how over-emotional Vince was when he lost his smile. The only logical conclusion to Bret Hart is that they're fucking.
It is still a wild claim to just throw out that this is what you think.
Just a bit. The Road Warriors used to say that too. I think Bret Hart used to hang out with them.
They used to say that Vince and Shawn were
There was a shoot interview with at least Hawk talking about how Vince and Shawn were fucking.
But did anybody ever catch them? Like, I was waiting for like Jim Cornette, and because we can't really, it's a backstage story, so we gotta kind of go with what we hear. So I was waiting for someone like a Jim Cornette or someone, and Jim Cornette, he's like, you heard rumblings, but I haven't heard anybody who's like, I busted into Vince's office one time, and Shawn was like down there sucking dick.
Well, you said that logistically it doesn't make sense because they wouldn't have had time.
Yeah. Or, I was by the door and I heard cuck, 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 cuck. Like, no one's come out with that kind of an actual thing. Oh, I walked in and Vince was zipping his pants up and Shawn was walking weird.
The best that they have is Nash said that Vince tried to tell him about his first homosexual experience or something.
Yeah, that's nothing. I think it's just more of a power trip for Vince.
He's clapping Shawn's cheeks out of power instead of romance. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you're also shitting on girls' heads, so
yeah.
Clearly it's just him living out some whatever it is. But I don't know, it's just a wild allegation there. It's the first time I actually heard any of this. So
really, that's been going on for quite a while.
I mean, what if it was just like a father-son type relationship? He just cared for Shawn as a fatherly figure.
Well, that would be the WWE narrative, but all the people that were released and are disgruntled and have an axe to grind have said that Vince is fucking Shawn. That's the only reason why Vince put up with Shawn's attitude when Shawn didn't draw shit.
Yeah. Because even like hearing stories around the screw job, I believe that happened in 97, which he's leading up to there. I heard in some interview that Triple H had suggested that it was him to do it.
Everybody's said it was their idea.
I think I even heard The Undertaker say it. Like, oh, I told Vince I'll do it. But, it just so happens to be Shawn. Now, Eric Bischoff chimed in on this, and he said that Bret Hart just comes off as bitter and probably needs therapy.
I don't think Bischoff is a fan of Hart.
He ruined his WCW run.
Well,
at him for the Goldberg thing.
He booked him terribly, but Hart has had nothing nice to say about Bischoff ever since. So I think the resentment comes from that, at least on Bischoff's side.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I think he probably blames Bischoff for the Goldberg thing. Like, you put me in that match.
I don't know, because Russo would have been around at that time, I think. I know he doesn't have any nice things to say about Russo either.
I mean, at this point, who does he have something nice to say about? I guess Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Also, just to point out in that interview, he was talking about wrestlers from today he'd like to work with or something. Maybe he was a fan of. And then someone asked him about MJF, and he was like, who? And that made people upset too.
I wouldn't be upset about that.
In the same interview, he said he doesn't watch modern stuff, so. But I like how he always throws out any of this he says, like, I mean, and I tell him to his face he was right here. Because he's tough guy Bret.
We'd have to see them in the same room to see if that's true.
Yeah. But yes, that is the Bret Hart allegations.